Welcome back to our series on the 7 legendary lightsaber forms. Today, we're diving into the most dangerous lightsaber form of all, JUYO and VAAPAD, the deeply controversial form that few dared to study, and even fewer ever mastered. Let's jump in. Form VII, known in 2 distinct incarnations as JUYO and VAAPAD, is the final and most aggressive of the traditional 7 lightsaber forms, but calling it a form feels almost too civilized. This isn't just technique, it's controlled fury. Where Form 2 is elegant and Form 3 is defensive, Form 7 is a weaponized scream, raw emotion forged into motion. Let's start with JUYO, the original root. JUYO was developed long before the fall of the Jedi and was always regarded with suspicion. The form is feral, explosive, and deliberately unbalanced. Every move is infused with intensity, sudden bursts, rapid strikes, and overwhelming offense. Unlike the more composed Sarisu or the fencing finesse of Makashi, JUYO doesn't parry, it breaks. It doesn't wait for openings, it rips them open. But that power comes at a cost. JUYO demands more than just physical stamina. It requires emotional volatility, rage, passion, intensity. Everything the Jedi Order teaches its students to avoid. It walks so close to the dark side that even skilled Jedi often lose themselves in it. The form was so dangerous that it was taught to only a rare few who demonstrated an almost unnatural level of emotional discipline. And even then, the risk was clear. Many who attempted to master JUYO either lost control, fell to the dark side, or never returned from the form's psychological toll. This is where VAAPAD comes in. VAAPAD was a radical reinterpretation of JUYO, not a replacement, but an evolution. Developed by Jedi Master Mace Windu, VAAPAD wasn't just about channeling one's own passion. It was about accepting, redirecting, and even using the opponent's dark emotions as fuel. It was named after a lightning-fast predator from the planet Serapin, known for attacking in blinding flurries. The comparison is no accident. VAAPAD mirrors this relentless aggression in combat. Philosophically, VAAPAD went even further than JUYO. It required the practitioner to acknowledge their inner darkness, to confront it head-on, and then channel it without succumbing. Windu described it as a superconducting loop. You let your opponent's rage flow through you, allowing it to energize your attacks, but never letting it corrupt you. Think emotional Aikido, only your attacker is a Sith Lord and you're wielding a plasma blade. In the Jedi Temple, Form VII was considered controversial, even borderline heretical. VAAPAD walked the thin line between Jedi principles and Sith temptation, using darkness as a weapon without ever crossing the threshold. That tightrope act is what made it so incredibly effective and so incredibly dangerous. As a fighting style, Form VII lacks the elegance of Makashi or the strategic patience of Sarisu. It doesn't prioritize efficiency, it prioritizes domination. Users of JUYO or VAAPAD press their advantage constantly, moving with such speed and unpredictability that they leave little room for opponents to counter. They embrace the chaos of battle and become the storm at its center. Where the other styles are built around control, preservation, or elegance, Form VII is built for one thing: overwhelming power. JUYO is the storm, wild and untamed. VAAPAD is the eye, focused but no less dangerous. Both are forged in fire, driven by emotion, and walk the razor's edge between mastery and collapse. This isn't a form you learn, it's a force you endure. Let's talk about matchups. How does Form VII stack up against the others? Against Form I, Shicho, JUYO is like a predator pouncing on prey. Shicho's wide, sweeping motions and lack of precision are easy pickings for JUYO's aggressive tempo. Form VII would dominate through sheer ferocity, forcing a Shicho user into a reactive, desperate defense. Against Form 2, Makashi, it's a nightmare matchup. Makashi thrives on elegance, precision, and controlled dueling, built to outmaneuver and outlast. But Form 7 doesn't play by those rules. A Makashi user might try to maintain distance, baiting for openings, but against Form 7, that hesitation gets punished. Hard and fast. This is exactly why Count Dooku, a master of Form 2, respected and even feared Mace Windu. In a clean duel, Vaapad didn't just disrupt Dooku's form, it dismantled it. Now, Form 3, Surisu, presents a unique challenge. Surisu is built to absorb pressure and wait for an opening, which makes it one of the few forms that can theoretically survive a JUYO assault. But surviving isn't the same as winning. A skilled Form 7 user will look for cracks, try to disrupt timing, and use force-based aggression to break through. Facing Form 4, Ataru, things get acrobatic. Ataru's agility gives it the ability to evade and strike from unusual angles, but JUYO thrives in close quarters. The key here is who controls the flow. Ataru users need space, but JUYO will close distance and smother them before they can build momentum. In a showdown with Form 5, Shien Gemso, it becomes a power duel. Both are aggressive, both hit hard, but JUYO is less about redirection and more about direct overwhelm. Gemso's calculated counters may find opportunities, but Vaapad's fluidity and unpredictability usually give it the edge. And when it meets Form 6, Nieman, it's barely a contest. Nieman is about balance, moderation, and adaptability, a jack-of-all-trades approach. But against the raw fury and relentless offense of Form 7, balance becomes indecision, and adaptability turns into hesitation. JUYO doesn't give you time to feel out the fight. It crashes through Nieman's calm center like a battering ram. And while Nieman may borrow bits and pieces from other forms, it lacks the sharp specialization or sheer explosive power to mount any real resistance. In a head-to-head clash, a Nieman user isn't fighting to win. Simply put, Form 7 doesn't play fair. It wins by keeping you too off balance to fight back. But that same volatility is also its weakness. Form 7 doesn't reward caution. It demands everything: strength, control, and the will to walk through fire. Only a handful were ever bold or reckless enough to wield it without falling. You don't find many Jedi in the Form 7 club. The ones who do end up in it, usually unforgettable. Let's start with Mace Windu, the undisputed master of Vaapad. Windu didn't just use the form, he transformed it. With Vaapad, he created a way to weaponize emotion without succumbing to it, a razor-thin balance between darkness and discipline. This wasn't just lightsaber combat, it was philosophy in motion. Vaapad let Windu do what few Jedi dared, channel the fury of his enemies and turn it back on them, amplified, an emotional circuit where rage came in and came out stronger, but never tainted him. In the fight against Darth Sidious, that loop held. Windu didn't just stand toe-to-toe with the Dark Lord of the Sith. He beat him. Sidious wasn't just stalling, he was losing, and for that brief moment, Vaapad had done the impossible. It had outdueled the dark side. Behind the scenes, that was no accident. Samuel L. Jackson worked closely with the stunt team and director George Lucas to shape Windu's style. Choreographer Nick Gillard crafted his movements to be deliberate, aggressive, and elegant, just like Vaapad itself. Controlled chaos, storm with a spine. Jackson himself wanted Windu to stand out. When he asked Lucas for a purple lightsaber, it wasn't just to look cool on screen, it was so he could spot himself during massive battles. That bold request became Star Wars canon, and the purple blade came to represent something deeper: individuality, moral ambiguity, and the raw power that Windu had mastered without being consumed. Then there's Sora Bulk, once a revered Jedi Master, instrumental in the development of Vaapad alongside Mace Windu. Bulk's journey is a stark reminder of the perilous edge Form VII treads. While Windu mastered the form, Bulk succumbed to it. His descent wasn't merely a lapse in judgment, it was a profound transformation. As Windu later remarked, he did not master Vaapad, Vaapad mastered him. Initially, Bulk was a paragon of Jedi discipline, renowned for his unparalleled lightsaber skills and philosophical insights. However, the very essence of Vaapad, channeling and amplifying one's inner darkness, proved too seductive. Bulk's fascination with the dark side intensified, leading him to secretly explore its depths. This clandestine journey culminated in his fall, where he aligned with Count Dooku and became a dark acolyte, orchestrating schemes to fracture the Jedi Order from within. His tragic end came at the hands of Quinlan Vos, a former ally who had once been tempted by the dark side but ultimately rejected it. Vos's victory over Bulk symbolized the triumph of inner peace over unchecked aggression. Bulk's story underscores a harrowing truth. Form VII doesn't just amplify one's combat prowess, it magnifies one's inner turmoil. Without unwavering self-discipline, the form doesn't merely challenge the user, it consumes them. And we can't forget galactic legends like Galen Marek, better known as Starkiller from Star Wars Legends. While he is primarily associated with Form VI, early in his training he actually used Form VII, tapping into its fierce, aggressive nature to devastating effect. His raw power and willingness to combine overwhelming force strikes with vicious saber sequences place him squarely in the same ideological space as Form VII, even if he later moved away from its formal tradition. And finally, there's Depa Billaba, a rare Jedi who embraced the fierce intensity of Form VII without losing her inner peace. She proved that beneath the storm of raw power, mastery isn't just about aggression, it's about balance, focus, and the strength to face darkness without falling to it. The stories of these masters reveal both the incredible power and the profound risks woven into Form VII. Its legacy is as much about triumph as it is about tragedy, a blade that cuts both ways. Though neither Darth Maul nor Darth Sidious were Jedi, both became legendary masters of lightsaber combat, each shaping their style to deadly perfection. Darth Maul was trained in the Sith tradition, but his lightsaber skills rivaled the greatest Jedi. His style was a brutal fusion of Form VII's ferocity and acrobatic aggression. Maul wielded the double-bladed saber with unmatched speed and precision, blending relentless offense with unpredictable lightning-fast strikes. Unlike most Sith who favored raw power alone, Maul's combat was a blend of artistry and savagery, an embodiment of JUYO's chaos harnessed with lethal grace. His relentless assault overwhelmed foes, making him a terror on the battlefield despite his youth. Maul's fighting style showcased how Form VII's raw intensity could be twisted into something uniquely Sith, devastating and merciless. Darth Sidious, on the other hand, was the embodiment of cunning and control. His mastery of lightsaber combat was less about raw aggression and more about lethal efficiency. Sidious refined his own version of Form VII, combining elements of JUYO's ferocity with precise calculated strikes. His use of Vaapad-like techniques allowed him to channel his immense dark side power into combat, making him nearly unstoppable. Sidious's style was deceptive, seemingly graceful yet explosively deadly, capable of overwhelming even the most skilled Jedi masters. His duel with Mace Windu is a testament to this mastery, where both combatants pushed Form VII to its limits. Sidious proved that even outside the Jedi path, one could master the most dangerous lightsaber form through sheer will and dark side power. Together, Maul and Sidious show how Form VII transcends the Jedi Order. Born from emotion, rage, and raw power, this form became their weapon, reshaped into a deadly art fueled by the dark side's terrifying expertise. But the legacy of Form VII goes beyond mastery and technique. It's a story of power and peril, where the line between light and dark isn't just tested, it's constantly blurred. Form VII is the black sheep of the lightsaber forms, feared, forbidden, and barely mastered. It's the final form, the ultimate test. Raw power fused with brutal honesty. The Jedi Council shunned it for a reason, because it demands you confront your own darkness, or be consumed by it. Vaapad was the narrow path that offered hope, a way to wield that storm without falling. But only a chosen few ever walked that line, and even they struggled. For the Sith, JUYO wasn't a curse but a tool. Rage made deadly, but without control it became nothing more than wild brutality. Today, Form VII's legacy is a legend about power, ambition, and sacrifice. It's the last form you learn, and the one that asks the biggest question: will you master the storm, or will it master you? Thanks for joining this deep dive into the most dangerous and complex lightsaber form in the galaxy. If you enjoyed this journey, hit subscribe and share your thoughts below. Until next time, may the Force be with you, always.